Hello everyone, today I want to show you how to take the body panels and the carriage off of this Lettera 22. Okay, so to take the entire frame off, I'm going to start by taking off the bottom. Take these 4 screws out here, 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 and here. Once the last one comes out, the thing just falls right off. To pop the top off, I'm just going to hold here and lift up. Now this frame is held on, this outer frame is held onto the inner frame, cover, with 2 screws. There's one here, there's one here, there's one up here, and there's one here. These are the 4 screws we're going to take off next. And move the carriage over, work on this one here. Take this whole thing around. Remove the 2 screws here and here. And this screw here right next to the mainspring. So here's the handle, and on the opposite side I'm going to set this margin release all the way to the 100. And then I'm going to slide the carriage, as far over as I can. Now I'm just going to lift up at an angle and finagle it around, and the outer frame should slide right off. Next, I'm going to take one of the screws that I took out that was holding the frame on. I'm going to put it right here, right next to the serial number. I'm going to use this screw here to hold the carriage string. I'm going to slide the carriage all the way away from the handle, tilt it up. Be very careful here. You can see the carriage string right here. Now, if there is nothing wrong with the tension of your carriage string, I recommend a wire or something to loop it around so it doesn't snap off and snap away from you. Then you just pull it off, and then we're going to hook this onto the screw right here. Let me get you a better angle on it. Just going to move the carriage over. This is the screw we want to hook it onto. Now we'll take this loop and just tie it down somewhere. This piece of metal right here is your margin release. It's the only thing that's holding the carriage on. So when you take that off, to take the carriage off, the margin release is held on by 2 posts in nut combination and screw. So first one is behind the little bell mechanism right here, and the other one's over here. I'm going to loosen up just this one side, and that should be enough to remove the margin release. Now, if there is nothing wrong with your margin release, I would definitely remember the position, the distance between these 2 nuts, and the position of this screw. I'm going to move the carriage over so I have access to this nut, and all I'm going to do is release this one nut here. Push it all the way up into the other nut, and now I'm going to screw this back. If you have a little wrench that'll fit on over this nut, you can just turn this nut here. You can see this is now loose. Now to get this thing off, I'm just going to push the key locking mechanism here, push it in, and this will slide right out. Okay, so to take this piece off, I'm just going to move the carriage over slightly, so it's in the middle, and then this should just pull right off. To take the carriage off, I'm just going to slide it towards the handle. There is a little trick to getting the margin release to go back on. So you see this little spring here. This is the tab mechanism, and connected to the spring is this L-shaped bracket here. Now this part, the C shape that I've colored red, this part needs to go on top of it before it slides into the post. So I'll show you from a different angle here. So that C shape's got to go on top of there before it can fit into this post here. To put this back together, everything just goes in reverse. I'm going to put the carriage back on the first wheel, tilt it up until I get to this middle wheel here. Then I'm going to tilt it down and it slides onto the other roller wheel there. Push the carriage release and it'll glide right on. And the margin release hooks on like this. Right, here's that big C-shaped opening, and I'm going to slide that on top of the L shape. Now that that's in, I'm just going to push this back, and now this is ready to be put back together. Let's give it a little tighten. The margin release is back on. So getting the margin release back on there is definitely the most tricky part of reassembly. After that, everything just goes back in the exact reverse of what we did. So I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you next time.